What does it take to get God to single us out? I mentioned this passage on Sunday, and I definitely wanted to go deeper in this and put it in the Bible reading for this week. But also, I want it to be a warning to all of us of the type of life that it takes for God to single us out. And if you have a background where it seems like all church is about singling people out, you're going to have difficulty with this passage, because you're going to feel like, oh, see, this is the Old Testament God. This is why I ran away from church. This is why I have no interest in it, or this is why I want something totally different. But if we dig deep into this passage, we can see that we really want God to single out this type of person. What he's doing, he's using Moses as his voice in order to talk to his people. And so this is a message for his own people. This isn't a message for people outside of God's people. This is a message for his own people. And he talked about how the Egyptians were slaves to their God. They worshiped these gods, and they did detestable things in the name of their gods. I mean, we're talking child sacrifice, we're talking prostitution, we're talking sex slave trade stuff today. All these things and more that they would do in the name of their gods. And God's going, let's not have any part in that, guys. Look, I will lead you completely different. I have shown you through my law that I will lead you completely different from what the other nations will do when they are worshiping their gods. And see, this is the same thing in our life. When we worship our own gods, we'll do detestable things. We'll lie, we'll cheat, we'll steal, we'll have sex with whomever we want to. We'll do all these things in the name of chasing after an idol. And see, what God says is that when we are like this, we will take out the moist and the dry alike. And the point with the moist and the dry, that's a little bit of an odd analogy, but the moist are those who are soft, pliable, moldable before God. These are the righteous. And then the dry, these are the ones that are dry before God. They are crusty, they are stubborn. And when we sin, and when we continue to deliberately sin and keep our stubborn heart in the wake, we'll leave people that are righteous and unrighteous just completely mystified by what we do. And this is the jealous father that we've been talking about. See, a jealous father, when somebody jacks with his kids, he is going to mess with them. And this is what he's talking about. The person that does this, he will single out. And the more I do this job, the more I recognize that he is more than willing to single this type of person out. Who is this that we're talking about? This is the one that blesses himself in his heart, saying, I shall be safe, though I walk in the stubbornness of my heart. This is the person in our context that will live however they want to throughout the week, but on Sunday, they will go to church, they will look good, they'll have a smile on their face, they have no problems, they're completely moral, but they do it because it's good for business, or that's what we do in suburban America, or it's good for their image, or whatever reason they do this. They make it look like they're all good, and then throughout the week they're stubborn. That's who God will single out. For those of you that are soft, moldable, pliable, you're asking the question, is this me? The fact that you're asking the question is a good thing. All right? Allow that to continue to move you deeper into a relationship with God through repentance, through being soft, through allowing him to mold you. If you're hard in your heart, you're saying, that's not me, that's a warning sign. Allow God to break you. Here's the solution. Beware lest there be among you a root bearing poisonous and bitter fruit. Take care of the root. Take care of the root that bears poisonous fruit. Take care of the root that bears poisonous fruit. Take care of the root that bears poisonous fruit. We can't do that on our own. Jesus has to take care of the root for us. This is why he died. This is why he resurrected. In order to take care of this root, we have to recognize that it's growing. We have to recognize the potential. We have to recognize where this will lead. And we have to recognize that Jesus is the one that is powerful enough to destroy this root and get him to cut it out. Right? Now, we work alongside of him to cut this out as well. That as Jesus said, if our eye causes a sin, pluck the sucker out. That's getting at the root, right? This is what we can do to get at the root. It's a both and. Jesus cuts it out, but we also work alongside of him to cut it out. But we cannot just try harder and do it on our own. Get the root out. Be soft, be moldable, be pliable. If you're hard, allow God to break you. This is a hard process, but allow God to break you so that the root will not bear poisonous fruit.